All right, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Welcome to another We Read the Documents live stream. Your host, John Brisson. Today we continue our Different Gospel of Alex Jones series. Alex Jones is a disciple of Barbara Marx Hubbard. Hope everybody's doing well out here. Go back and search my Odyssey or my ministry channel and search for Barbara Marx Hubbard if you want previous context to who this woman is and why Alex Jones, being a disciple of hers, is abhorrent and very important nonetheless. So yes, this is an actual confirmed quote by Barbara Marx Hubbard. 1/4 of humanity must be eliminated from the social body. We're in charge of God's selection process for planet Earth. He selects, we destroy. We're the riders of the pale horse death. So her family, the Marx family, should I say, not the Hubbard family, the Marx family, should I say, are powerful, wealthy toy manufacturers and financiers of the Bush family. Yeah, you heard me right. Louis Marx was her father, the toy baron. A lot of his toys were sold on Sears Roebuck catalogs. Was a financier to the Bushes. This woman comes from wealth. She's an elitist of the elite. She helped found the World Future Society with Edward Cornish and Finders operation leader Marion Petty. Okay, this is who this woman is. She's just not some nobody. All right. So Barbara Marx Hubbard starred in the New Age truther movie Thrive, What on Earth Will It Take, as a worldview pioneer. During her interview, she discusses her same flawed elite philosophies about conscious evolution, the new universal age of humankind, and how we're supposed to be co-creators with God, the heretical little g doctrine. Hubbard also discussed in interviews how memes, memetic warfare, are a major part of conscious evolution, ideas that one holds in their mind that shift culture into their version of the future. The movie also has interviews with David Icke, Alex Jones, John Perkins for Confession of an Economic Hitman, Catherine Austin Fitts, G. Edward Griffin, long-term John Birch Society member, Stephen Greer, Amy Goodman, Democracy Now!, Van Jones, CNN, Deepak Chopra, who said Hubbard is the voice of a conscious evolution of our time, Edgar Mitchell, founder of the Institute of Noetic Sciences, and Stefan Molyneux, the famous libertarian. Foster Gamble, one of the heirs of the Procter & Gamble Corporation, and his wife Kimberly Gamble are the founders of Thrive. Gamble, like Hubbard, is another Love and Light New World Order elite member who brings you information about the evil, wicked Old World elite, or current world elite, which they are, while disguising their deceptive intentions of only exposing the current world order. Why would truthers including David Icke, Alex Jones, G. Edward Griffin, and Catherine Austin Fitts be in a documentary with an elitist like Hubbard for whom they claim to be against? Because these truthers also represent the New World Order of love and light and secretly agree with Hubbard and Foster. Finally, Alex Jones has had Foster Gamble and InfoWars frequently, even after the Thrive documentary was released. So here we have Aaron Dykes. Remember Aaron and Melissa Dykes, right? True Stream Media. They left InfoWars, right? And Jesse Spott's always had, a good belief, maybe intuition, that the Dykes, especially Melissa Dyke, they were witchy. They were new agey. And yeah, I wonder if Aaron Dykes would denounce now Foster Gamble and Thrive or not. I found it very interesting going back and listen to this clip. Then InfoWars was promoting Foster Gamble, because Foster Gamble also promoted Barbara Marx Hubbard. Alex Jones was in that same Thrive film, okay, which you read was an excerpt from my Substack, okay. So, InfoWars were big promoters of Thrive, of Foster Gamble and Kimberly Gamble. And InfoWars has interviewed them, and Alex Jones has interviewed them frequently. Alex Jones never denounced them to my knowledge. And, of course, that would mean that Alex Jones was aware of Barbara Marx Hubbard. You probably watched the documentary he was in, would he not? And yet did not denounce her either.
Gamble legacy of being part of eugenics and really coercively hurting people. You guys are trying to turn that question around and empower people, which I think is obviously the right question. How do we deal with issues that you have current members of the Procter & Gamble board working with Monsanto when obviously that's one of our big problems?
Well, I appreciate the question actually a lot. I like having the chance to address this directly, but let me kind of take those one at a time. First of all, in terms of Clarence Gamble, this is a person that I did meet a few...
So this was set up, obviously. These questions were given to them beforehand so they could answer them, so that they can seem like that they're good guys, that they're the white hats, okay? The love and light side of the Procter & Gamble family, okay? Which, you know, all Foster Gamble has done over these years is propagate New Age beliefs, theosophical beliefs. He still does to this day. He hasn't changed at all. So InfoWars is giving them a platform to push this. Alex Jones hasn't changed. We're going to play a clip of him defending them. And he sounds just as New Age as he does today. He's always been this way. Maybe he's hidden it a little bit better, but now going back and knowing this and listening to him, he really hasn't.
Times and actually really enjoyed him a lot. He was one of the most innovative members of the family. And I was shocked when I read David Icke and then saw Endgame to see how he was characterized as someone who was actively and covertly depopulating. Because I know he was associated with the eugenics movement, and that's unfortunate in those times. I communicated with his whole side of the family once I heard these reports and said, is this true that he was involved in any kind of mandatory or covert sterilization? And they said no. As far as any of them knew, he was never himself. In fact, he was a fighter against mandatory sterilization, even though he was very much in favor of spreading the optional birth control and so forth to 30 countries around the world. So I don't know definitively, but that's as best I could find out from the family. But in any case, whatever he was involved in, obviously each one of us is our own human beings, and as we say in the film, there's no more dangerous plot on the planet right now than the elite plot to actively depopulate.
There you go. As I read in my Substack article, even back then in 2012, Foster Gamble was discussing the crimes of the harlot, the current world order, the Zionist, Jesuit, Masonic world order. Not exposing the new world order of love and light to come, the beast system, okay? The world order of the Antichrist. No. Of course not. Why? Because they serve Satan. Because they want that to come to fruition. So it hasn't changed. 2012 to now, these people are still talking this same old nonsense.
The planet, and so we're doing everything we can to expose that. So now in relation to
doing everything they can to expose the current world order, but nothing to expose the coming new world order.
To Procter & Gamble itself, I personally am very grateful to my ancestor, who was a candle maker and a soap maker, for the legacy that he passed on to me, which is just enough money to spend my life tracking these very questions and then making a film to try to do everything I could about it. But
this man is a multimillionaire. Just enough money just to survive and document and put out his bull. Yeah, okay.
The company itself was one that as I've read about the history, and none of the family members have been involved in the running of the company for several generations, and our stock ownership is so minuscule that we have no financial leverage as such over the company.
They have nothing. They're poor elitists. They want you to think that they have nothing. They own nothing. Yet the man still to this day, to my knowledge, still just pushes New Age nonsense. That's his main goal. It's been his main goal for years. He's produced other documentaries. Thrive is still going on to this day. Hello? But they got no money, right? They're poor. You know, the rest of the Gamble family has forsaken them because of their goal to save humanity. And we're supposed to believe this? Yeah, okay.
But we do have a little bit of kind of public leverage, because if a bunch of us come forward as the members of the legacy family against one of their policies, it's embarrassing for them. So we've been able to have some success in coercing them to reduce pollution, and especially to eliminate animal testing. We've gotten them to eliminate over 90% of what they were doing. We're working on the last 5 to 10% of that. And we continue to do what we can. I wish we could do more. I'm no longer proud of that company. I don't use any of their products except an occasional razor blade. They've been unwilling to go into organic foods, you know, when they cooperate with Monsanto, when they create RFID chips, when Dick Cheney goes on the board in the 90s, you know, for me, that was the indication, okay, they really have, unfortunately, given their size, they have become, at least to some degree, a part of the military-industrial complex, which is so dangerous right now. So I don't have any hesitation about exposing any violations that they create, and I reach out to other members of legacy families to do everything we can in our generations to turn those giant ships away from the kind of centralized control and inappropriate violating behavior that a lot of them do, and either, you know, get rid of them or turn them so that they're actually really serving people and the planet in a healthy way.
So Aaron Dykes, maybe the Dykes have changed. Maybe they've changed. Someone at them on Twitter and asked them for me. Okay. Aaron Dykes platformed Foster Gamble as if he was one of the saviors of humanity. An elitist, multi-generational elitist white hat. Huh. Oh, they're trying to push Elon Musk as the same, right? Alex Jones is pushing Elon Musk currently as the same, right? I'm sure the Dykes aren't. You know, they're not part of InfoWars any longer. But, you know, because of some sort of supposedly threat that they have from Alex Jones and InfoWars and under some sort of non-disclosure agreement, maybe the Dykes can't even talk about this. But yet, why at the time would Aaron just go along with this and think it's okay if he had any type of discernment? You know, oh, there's this poor Foster Gamble, Kimberly Gamble. They have no money. Foster Gamble has no money at all, period. None at all. You know, I mean, look, still going on. Even if they claim that, you know, they've, you know, after 20 years, they've closed Thrive On and the Thrive movement, even though you can still watch the movies, you can still come to Foster Gamble's, you know, website. He's still writing. Oh, look, the quest for the unified field theory fulfilled has Nassim Harriman, World Future Society member Nassim Harriman, who was, if I remember correctly, in the Thrive movies, discovered the long-sought thought of unified theory. Still pushing New Age bull. Free to thrive. You know, Jesus Christ came to free the captives, but Foster Gamble says through New Thought, you could be freed. You can be free to thrive. Still hasn't changed. They still haven't changed.
Yeah, and I think I want to add, I think one of the things that we feel is that individuals should be prosecuted for the decisions that they make and not be able to hide behind the corporate personhood. So, you know,
coming military tribunals
needs to be made, and we can tell. I mean, clearly Procter & Gamble's involved in some horrible stuff, and the individuals responsible for those decisions, we think should be prosecuted. So, you know, that's part of the whole move here, is that there needs to be some accountability as their structures come down and the people reemerge, which I'm confident will happen. And one of the ways I think is to get this corporate personhood thing out of the way so that the people are actually accountable for the decisions they make, and including investors in those companies. If that's what their money's doing, then there should be accountability there too.
Right.
Yeah, let me mention one more aspect of that, because in our solutions process, our model, it's not just a useful structure, but the other half of it is it needs to be based on healthy principles. And the key principle that we base all of our solutions on is the principle of non-aggression, of the honoring of each person's property, safety, and privacy.
Pushing libertarianism, that was their way in. Your Alex Jones talk about Ron Paul, the rule of non-aggression, which is a quote-unquote libertarian belief. That's how they shoehorned it in. Ron Paul's a Council for National Policy Freemason. That's how they shoehorned all this in, was under the guise of libertarianism. Libertine, Satan gives you liberty, Lucifer gives you liberty. Jesus Christ gives you freedom, true freedom from sin and death.
So when these companies are doing bad things, not only do they need to be prosecuted, but we can employ the same thing that Gandhi and King did with nonviolent non-participation. We can refuse to buy from these companies. We can refuse.
Which I don't necessarily disagree with not purchasing for companies that you feel that you should not purchase from due to ethical reasons or moral reasons, or companies that the Holy Spirit, or items that the Holy Spirit convicts you on for not purchasing. I understand that. I'm not saying that I don't, or that, people that have, poisoned us through our food and water, or corporations that have sold harmful and damaging products to the environment or to us, to God's creation, that they shouldn't be held accountable. They should be prosecuted. But not in the way they're talking about.
To invest in these companies, we can protest against these companies, and we can.
They are elitists themselves.
Divest from other companies or organizations or universities or whatever that also invest them in the same way that divestment was so critical to getting rid of apartheid, at least to what degree it has been in South Africa. The same thing can be true for the multinational corporations and the banks in America and across the developed world.
Right, and obviously this was never just about Procter & Gamble. The real problem is that all these major companies have more or less combined into one larger entity. And what I really see as the big problem is the Rockefeller Foundation or the Gates Foundation saying, everybody pool your money with us, we have the answers. But their answers are the harmful GMOs and very questionable, definitely dangerous vaccinations. And that's not the path forward. I do appreciate all the questions you put forward in Thrive. Let me bring this up, too, because the environmental component is something we do want, quote, sustainable energy. At the same time, you've got the world government level, the United Nations and what have you, also addressing those questions, and they've got a real Trojan horse where they want to use the global commons to get a greater power, something that we all are interested in solving, but not the same solution.
Yeah, that's a really critical distinction. I'm glad that you brought that one up, Aaron, because I know a lot of my friends who care deeply about the environment and have been very active for years, have been being severely duped, as I used to be, to think that the Copenhagen conference, for instance, was really about saving the environment rather than a Trojan horse in order to create a global tax and a global government and a global police force to, in fact, control everybody through the control of carbon. And it's the same thing with a lot of people.
So the current world order, carbon tax, green agenda, bad, which it is. New World Order's version of quote-unquote clean energy and kind of like the Buckminster Fuller version of like a green utopia, good according to them. But we know it's a lie. It's a lie from Lucifer. It's not true. It doesn't exist. There is no green utopia. Okay? Man has a wicked, sinful heart. It won't happen. Only when God destroys the world by fire and makes it anew, a perfect, heaven and earth, a non-corrupted fallen creation, then is something where the environment is not destroyed or polluted, something that's not obtainable right now. But they want to sell you. Satan wants to sell you the lie that it is. These people want to say that they have the answer. Elon Musk has the answer. Peter Thiel has the answer. The kind of like the beast system version, the Antichrist has the answer. It's not true.
Are still being fooled, including here in Santa Cruz, by programs like Agenda 21, where they learn to use all the right words like, equality and sustainability and enduring systems and all that type of thing. But really, if you look at it, under the guise of that, they're stretching the tentacles of the one world government and the super state structure right down into your local communities and taking over your environment, your water, the air, the local systems, the local governments, and so forth, under the guise of taking care of the environment. And we really need to wake up and make a more mature and discerned distinction there before it's too late.
We need to wake up. The Great Awakening, huh? The Great Awakening to the current world's tyranny, to replace it by the love and light version, the veneer tyranny. People like Foster Gamble, a multi-generational elitist coming to save you, who claims he doesn't have a penny to his name. It's all a lie. It's all con game.
Yeah, and I think it's important to reclaim a lot of that language for ourselves rather than abdicate because they've usurped it. I mean, they had the Clean Air Act. I remember, in our choice in making Thrive, talking about love was like, geez, can we do that? It's like, wait a minute, what happened here? How is it there are these words, whether they have to do with sustainability or clean air or basic human goodness and the capacity that we have to love and care for each other, suddenly
there's not one that does good.
Become, risque things to talk about, or we're going to be misunderstood, instead of let's reclaim this and say, yes, we're out.
Yeah, let's reclaim it. We can do it. We can co-create. We can be gods. That's what they're trying to push.
Absolutely, for sustainability of a conscious
Thrive, one-eye symbolism of the girl taking off the blindfold. The world is waking up. Thrive, what on the earth will it take?
Aware nature that.
Okay. So here's Alex Jones defending it.
Get into individualism, how that's going to empower people, and that's seen by the liberals that see it, because it's kind of tailored for classical, liberals out there.
Classical liberals, another buzzword for Fabian socialist. Okay. Libertarianism, libertinism. Okay. So this Thrive, Alex Jones gives the playbook right there. Thrive is for Fabian socialists because it is the Fabian socialist system of the New World Order of love and light. Okay.
That's what's really shocking to them. For us that are constitutionalists, it's like, well, that's not shocking. So the film really, I would say, is tailored for kind of mainline liberals that are well-meaning people and don't understand from kind of an Alex Jones or Ron Paul perspective why liberty is so important.
There you go. Ron Paul. Liberty, libertinism.
It's into alternative energies that have been suppressed.
There you go. Alex Jones is still talking about today the alternative energies that have been suppressed, the med beds, the cures. They've been discussing these things for decades, setting up the population in conspiratainment and conspiracy culture to accept this, the Great Awakening.
That is going on. I mean, it's really a revolutionary film. Now, obviously, some of it I don't 100% endorse or believe in, but I think it's really good to get.
You have to put that qualifier in it, don't you, Jones? I think you believe and agree with it all. We know that by now.
Thinking, and it's a good way to break the ice and to get conservatives to kind of understand a kind of libertarian liberal perspective and to also wake up mainline liberals. So that's why I made the decision to carry the film Thrive. It's now available at Infowars.com. It's also available on their site. Films like Zeitgeist, the first one came out, and of course I wasn't involved in it. I wasn't asked to be involved. They used a lot of my material. People got mad at me because it's really an anti-Christian, anti-religion film at first. Then it gets into the Federal Reserve, the New World Order. So I agree with 2/3 of the first zeitgeist. 1/3 of it is attacking people that have faith or a spiritual consciousness. Thrive doesn't do that. So I like it a lot more because I've had spiritual experiences.
I've had spiritual experiences. I like Thrive a lot more.
I have a relationship with my Creator. I don't judge others that are in other religions and have had their experiences. I know that something's going on out there. And so it gets a little bit into that too. So it's really about expanding your awareness. And
Expanding your awareness. Great Awakening.
It's a wholesome film, and I think the filmmakers are in the right direction.
The filmmakers in the right direction. The Gamble family, the multi-generational elitist Gamble family.
Half-cocked when people were calling and talking about it, said, Foster Gamble, the Gambles, that's New World Order. Well, I bet it is, this or that. And they kind of sent nice emails saying, well, Alex, we think more of you. You should actually look at this. So they didn't really lash out at me when I was not really half-cocked. I said, it might be positive. I got to see it. But, little I'll find out, because I'm always a jaundiced eye on anything coming from the left. Now, if they come out with other films down the road and start getting globalist on us, then I'll say, it's like Zeitgeist. The first one's up.
He still's never denounced Foster Gamble, to my knowledge. And, of course, Alex Jones titles this video, New Film Exposes Global Consolidation of Money, Power, and Offers Real Solutions. So Barbara Hubbard's offering real solutions. Alex Jones in there is offering real solutions. David Icke is offering real solutions. Buckminster Fuller is offering real solutions. Edgar Mitchell is offering real solutions. The World Future Society, according to Alex Jones, is offering real solutions. So now we have Alex Jones and Tucker on X, and Alex Jones is going to give us his worldview. It hasn't changed, and truly we're going to find out why he's a disciple of Barbara Marx Hubbard.
And so I'm sitting there totally focused for I wouldn't call it meditation, for 30 minutes, just sitting there in the dark with the computer screen on. And I go, no, I'm not going to watch Tucker's show from yesterday. I'm going to watch this speech. And I click it, and I'm 10 minutes in, and you go, we got to say everything I'm saying. I didn't even say this on air. I'm hearing you say basically the same thing, because it's a universal truth. Then I want to bring the next piece to it, which you talked about. You grew up in this super wealthy area of California when you weren't, spending your summers here in Maine. And speaking for you, I watch the show all the time and read your material. It's beautiful. And you were talking about how they're totally freaked out and neurotic and crazy because no one talks about death. Everybody shelves away the old people. They basically put them out on an ice float or, burn them like the Vikings. And that by doing that, that's what makes them not be connected to reason and God and the deeper things. And that's why they're so lost. That's totally true. So let me now take you one step further in this. The globalists are so scared of death. They have all this money, all this power, all this control. So they're obsessed with finding life-extension technology, merging with machines, becoming gods. That's their new religion. That's the transhumanism. And that's where all their funding goes. But that's only one side of the coin. The other side is that if you're going to be God, you've got to be in charge of death. So because they fear death and they project their hatred of themselves onto us, then if they can poison us, dumb us down, sterilize us, depopulate us, they believe that's more for them at a very greedy level. So they want to be death, the destroyer of worlds. To quote Oppenheimer, I become death, destroyer of worlds, and at the same time cheat death. So it's a total subconscious obsession with death. Instead of consciously focusing on it, getting over it, instead they turn it loose to their animal, lower alligator brain and are now manifesting all this because they've not embraced the higher level of understanding.
I agree with that completely, but it's doomed as a project, no? I mean, it is the Tower of Babel. Whenever you see in history is the story of this, people drunk on their own power, overstating their control over things, becoming convinced they're God, and then being destroyed. I mean, it is just an endless loop of that story.
It's a law of humans.
It's a law, exactly.
And
so this isn't going to work. They're going to blow up the world before they do this. There's just not possible.
You just stole my thunder, because we've not talked before this. We've talked about a lot of stuff, but nothing about the show, really. It's a law, just like gravity, just like 2 + 2 = 4. It is the fabric of the universe. And I was about to say, in the past, megalomaniacs would try to control everything, order the firstborn, killed. Almost every kingdom would do that, whether it was Egypt or the Druids. Oh, there's too many young men being born, kill them.
Yeah.
I mean, depopulation's always been there. In the time of Plato, 2,500 years ago, he thought the world was overpopulated. So that's kind of where the eugenics comes from and where they get these ideas. The greatest philosopher ever, who said a lot of great things, but also said there's too many Greeks. We need to kill most of them. They're animals, they're dumb. We need to control breeding and only make supermen. And that's where Hitler got all that. That's where all this comes from. But the central issue here is, in the past, civilizations would just fall apart when they got into a decadent phase. Hard men make good times, hard men make good times make soft men make bad times.
Exactly.
And so instead of going through that cycle and the collapse of that corrupt system, now there's biological weapons, chemical weapons, nuclear weapons, all this other advanced stuff. Instead, they're going to try to use the robots and all the control and the nuclear weapons to make us finally get under their mark of the beast, finally get under their unified system of control, finally get under their social credit score, which was predicted by these incredibly connected people 2,000 years ago, that this would be the ultimate tyranny that was coming, not almost psychically seeing it into the future because of the great evil potential. Time's really a loop. It was looping back or bouncing back. Real psychics seeing into the future what was going to happen in Revelation as a potential, I believe, and it's actually a warning that we don't have to follow that course. And that's my own personal belief. So instead, whether you believe in Revelation or not, the evil globalists, the selfish globalists, are using it as a blueprint and literally building the mark of the beast cashless society, where you don't just, I agree to take this mark, I can buy and sell now. You have to worship the beast that can be seen by all on earth at the same time. It describes these big holograms you got to watch and worship. And it tells you what to do. And it tells you how to live. And it says men become women and women become men and children are set upon their parents. And there's nothing but wickedness being invented. And it describes everything that's now happening and says when they roll this out, you've got to worship this world government. You've got to worship this system and do exactly what it says, or it doesn't let you buy and sell. And so whether people believe in the Bible or not, believe in Revelation or not, it is now manifesting.
All right, let the whole entire clip play out, okay? So Alex Jones says that the Apostle John, who wrote the Revelation of Jesus Christ down, okay, which is the final book of the Holy Bible, that he was a psychic, that he divined, this information wasn't given to him by Jesus Christ or by the angels, that he psychically saw a future that doesn't have to happen, that the apocalypse can be averted. And he claims that he developed this theory. Now, we know that is wrong. We know that Barbara Marx Hubbard wrote about it, and probably people before her wrote about it. Okay. Alex Jones is a liar. Okay, first and foremost. And second, with his book, The Great Awakening, that was ghostwritten by Kent Heckenlively, who was the ghostwriter for Judy Mikovits in her book on the pandemic. Okay. The Great Awakening book is halfway in between, and put out in the front between Tucker and Jones. Okay? Realize that, all right? So Barbara Marx Hubbard wrote in her introduction, her book that was, it was titled The Alternative to Armageddon, okay, which Alex Jones just said was possible, okay, that they only saw, that John only saw the darkest future, that Jesus only prophesied the darkest future, okay, that Peter only prophesied the darkest future, okay. The Old Testament prophets, Daniel only prophesied the darkest future, that the Armageddon, that the apocalypse does not have to happen, okay, that there is a peaceful, human potential, human-centered utopia that is possible, the alternative to Armageddon, okay? Barbara Marx Hubbard wrote that in her book, in her own interpretation of Revelation. This is demonically inspired. This is automatic written. She says so herself, okay? Alex Jones is not a Christian. Alex Jones is a liar, and Alex Jones is a deceiver, and Alex Jones is a disciple of Barbara Marx Hubbard. I guarantee you that. Okay, so I'm going to read the very beginning of her work, and it's literally what just came out of Alex Jones's mouth. Okay. This work was written for those in whom the flame of expectation burns, people who are attracted to the future and who desire to participate in the transformation of themselves and the world to a higher stage of consciousness, freedom, and order. We're the second generation of disciples. Almost 2,000 years ago, a small band of people believed in the literal reality of the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. They preached that we must get ready for the kingdom of heaven was at hand. They believed the promise that Jesus had made. He that believeth in me, the works that I do shall he do also, and the greater works than these shall he do. The New Agers always butcher that scripture. What Jesus was talking about was during his short earthly ministry, that Christians for decades and centuries later would be able to preach the gospel more, and God would be able to use them to do miracles more than he was able to do during the limited time in his earthly ministry. Okay, that's what that scripture means in context. That's what Jesus' words means in context. Okay. But they always make it seem like, oh, you can be exactly like Jesus and be as powerful as Jesus in your earthly body and do greater things than Jesus was able to do on earth. No. Okay. It's a little G doctrine. Okay. The churches were formed to retain and nourish this extraordinary promise of a new humanity capable of evolving beyond the limits of the creature human condition, beyond the illusion of separation in the model of Jesus. Now, at the threshold of the second millennium, we, like the first disciples, believe in the reality of the transformation. We sense that out of the current crisis is new spiritual, social, and scientific potentials are emerging, which, if using harmoniously in alignment with the will of God, can give the human species the ability to transcend this phase of evolution, to go beyond self-centeredness, consciousness, beyond planet-boundedness, war, disease, scarcity, and degeneration. We see the possibility of acting out the promise of becoming fully human beings, ever evolving in a universe of many mansions, co-creative with the patterns and the process of creation. We intuit that we are living during the half hour of silence in heaven, of which John the Divine wrote in the Revelation. The angels of destruction are held in abeyance for one more instant of time. The four horsemen of the apocalypse are not yet riding. The nuclear holocaust has not yet begun. The biosphere has not yet collapsed. There are alternatives to Armageddon. This is the time for the children of God to unite as the people of planet Earth, to connect with each other, believers and non-believers alike, who desire to work together to the common well-being. Universalism. Together we experience a planetary Pentecost, joining as one planetary body, each hearing the same inner voice in our own language, saying, we are one, we are good, we are universal. So there is a multi-part series on my Odyssey channel, We've Read the Documents, and on my ministry channel, where I read Barbara Marx Hubbard's interpretation of Revelation chapter 20 and 21, I believe. She says that John divined the information given to him, just like Alex Jones said that they were psychics. She says the alternative is Armageddon. She says in the introduction here the alternative is Armageddon. Alex Jones claims he came up with this by himself. Bull. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Alex Jones knows good and well who Barbara Marx Hubbard is. And if that's not the case, then the same demons are working through them. Okay? So, yeah. When Alex Jones said this on Tucker, my jaw dropped. Expect more of this. Expect the world order of love and light, the coming beast system. Expect the Antichrist to tell you that we don't have to go through Armageddon. And that's how they're going to sell this. Is we don't have to. The old world order, the current world order, that's who wants to bring this to fruition. Not God. Not God, who's long-suffering, who finally, Jesus Christ, comes with a sword. He becomes the conquering king to spread God's vengeance across the earth for wicked people. No. No. All that could be averted. All that could be, but we have to get rid of the pesky 1/4 of humanity that doesn't want to ascend with the rest of us, a.k.a. the elimination and persecution of the born-again Christian population of the world. That's simple. Alex Jones is a con man. Alex Jones is not a Christian. Alex Jones is someone who we should deeply pray for as an enemy. He's an enemy of God. He's an enemy of the gospel. He's an enemy of any God-fearing person. God bless everybody. Take care.